1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and stop. Awesome. That is my groove. Now, while I happen to find my groove particularly groovy, it actually gets kind of boring after a while. If I were to keep playing that song, and a lot of you probably already got kind of bored of that song. And after about 3 or 4 of these really big loops, right? So if we want to talk about our bars and beats again, remember that this line represents 1 bar of music, okay? And these 1 bars are looping over and over and over again. And every time these bars loop 4 times, this square has looped once, okay? So we have total, if I were to stop this and play it from the beginning, we have a 4-bar groove. So that was 4 bars. Each side of this square is 1 bar in length. And you can kind of visually see that here if you compare the kick. Okay, so why is that important, Mr. Zebarth? Reason being is that we are going to now mix down this groove. What does that mean, mix down? Well, we're simply going to kind of stretch out this loop, this thing that is really only, it would be about 12 seconds long, okay? Well, that 12 seconds, that's not very long at all, right? Pop songs are more like 3 or 4 minutes long, right? So how do we take this short loop, this short groove, and turn it into something that has more variety and kind of makes an impact? While music is repetitive, it's usually only repetitive in multiplications of 4, right? So usually we only hear things 4 times until they change something. So we're going to also stick to that rule in this lesson here. So let's begin. Awesome. Now we're going to actually use the record button here. Record, record, record. But essentially, when I hit that record button, what it's going to do is it's going to play our groove for as long as we want to play it, but it's also going to record that groove. So let me show you an example of that before we go into the nitty-gritty of this assignment here. So I have this stopped Turtle Audio groove. I'm going to just hit this circle, and it will not only play it, but it will record it. Okay, it is currently recording this. Look, boom, that's been 1 full 4-bar groove right there. Here we go. We're about to get to the second one. Okay, notice. So every time this thing gets to the beginning, that is like a landmark. We're going to notice that part. This is the beginning of 4 bars. Okay? It's a great way to kind of visually be able to see where we are in this groove. When it gets to this last one, I'm going to hit stop. Square. Boom. Circle meets the square. Okay, so I hit circle to begin the recording and the square to stop the recording. I have a wave file .wav. And if you're in Chrome, let's click on this little arrow here. Hide this. And we can say either show in Finder if you're on a Mac, or I think if you're on a PC, it's called, I forget now, it's called Show in Explorer or Reveal in Explorer, or I don't know. Some text will pop up here. And that will tell you exactly what it is. So if I show this in the Finder, it has downloaded a WAV file that I can listen to now. Listen. That's too loopy. There's no variety in that. We need to kind of change things up. We're going to create a mix down. We're going to take separate parts of our groove and maybe mute them at one point, turn them up at another point. Maybe we could change the panning of something, or we can change it, other options. So I go to We can make a different octave at one point if we want. So what's cool about this app is that I can hit record, and all of a sudden I can just change something. Like I'll change the octave. Ooh, ouch, kind of hurts my ears. I'll go back. Okay. So while this is playing and while it's recording, I can change things. And hit stop. Okay. So what that did is it recorded all those little things I clicked on there, and it changed that. And that is actually a musical performance that I just did. It's pretty cool. Let me show you a few of the requirements here. Okay, and if we look over at our sticky note, we have our requirements right there. And you may use your grooves from week 3 or week 7. And I know a lot of you, right when they see that, they realize, I don't know where that is. So if you have turned in things to week 3 or week 7, you can show up to the Zoom meeting and I will retrieve it for you. Okay. And also no A+ this week. We're just making one mix. Now the thing is if you were working from week 7, you are at 120 BPM and you have to turn that down now. Let me show you what that looks like. 120. That's fine. It's actually pretty cool. I would dance to this. But this will not sync up to our animation. Okay. So it has to be 90 BPM. And if you've been following along, we're using SNARE and the closed hats on step 5 and 13. So those are in previous assignments, but just double checking here. What else we got? We're going to make changes in our groove now every 4 bars. And 4 bars is essentially one loop here. And 4. Okay, so it starts at 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. So you can change it at any of those divisions that you want. I'm going to do things really in like 4s and 16s, I think. So you'll see when I actually do my performance. Also, we're not using Google Form. We're just going to download our wave from this website and submit it directly to Google Classroom. And hopefully you change your last name so it's not like Turtle-Audio. You make it something like Mr-Zbarth, right? Okay, let's begin. One simple way of adding variety to your mix is to mute a track. The first thing I'm definitely going to mute is this big melody here. So I'm going to use my white arrow and we'll select the square. This gives us our controls for this. And now while I have the square selected, I'm going to turn the volume down. Volume, we'll click and drag this down. Okay. So this is totally muted. Watch what happens when I play it. It's all percussion. That's kind of cool. That would be a great start. Sure, I don't care. Okay, but if we look at our assignment, I want you to have this be 45 seconds in length. That's roughly 16 loops of your drum beat. Okay, so I'm going to do everything in 4 repeats of this. Okay, so currently this is muted, right? We'll play this. I actually think I want to mute the snare too. So I'm going to come in and select snare. And we'll turn that down. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Okay, so I'm going to let that go all the way around. Look at my kick. And that's down. The volume's all the way down. Now I'll turn that up and go. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, I'll turn up. So that would be like a way that we would perform this, right? To record the performance, we would start not by hitting the play button, but by hitting the record button. What are some other things to think about, Mr. Z? Well, what other things can we change? You notice me here fooling around with the envelope. So we have something called ADSR. That is called attack, decay, sustain, and release. If you want it to be really short sound, we're going to turn down the attack and the decay. The decay being how long it takes for the sound to like drop off, right? And kind of the sustain and the release are the same thing. So I'm going to turn most of these down, and we'll hear a difference now. And that's pretty similar to how it before. When I turn these up, it starts to sound longer. Watch. That one really where I... Decay. Attack is a little different. Right now it sounds very much like a bell at the beginning. You turn the envelope up. It's more like a dream. If I hit attack beginning, it's more like I'm hitting something. When you turn the attack up, it's more like you're playing like a string instrument or something. Okay, so I'm ready to finally do my performance. So watch me. I'm going to change a few different things. We're going to change the volume of things. I'm not going to mess around with the resonance, the cutoff. If you guys want to experiment with those, you can. I would actually recommend most of you turn the attack down. Remember, everything needs to be at 90 BPM. I'm using a triangle oscillator. I'm going to use a square for this. Let me listen to that. Okay, that's good. Other things you might... Here we go. To begin, let's hit stop. Stop. Close this. I'm ready to rock. I will begin by turning down the volume on some of these tracks here. So I'll use my white arrow. I'll click on the kick line. We'll turn this volume down. I will now go to the snare and turn this volume down. The clap is the one thing we're going to keep. So I'm not going to change the clap. Let's click here. That's all the way up. I'll also make sure that my volume of the 4-bar groove here is down. So now that I've turned everything down, I am ready to begin my performance simply by clicking on the record button. Let's do it. Watch what happens here. Notice I'm going to start counting right away. And I'm not going to change anything until this guy goes all the way around. And go. Okay, select my kick. Turn the volume up. Perfect. And my clap. Turn it up a little more. Go to my snare now. Okay, I say that you have to go for like 45 seconds, I think. Just gonna let this go for a while. And now select my 4-bar groove and turn that up. That was a little off, but it's okay. gonna let this go 4 times. So 3, 2, 3. I hope this makes sense. This might be 5. I might already be messing up. If you mess up, it's okay. So now I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to keep this going. Volume down. Now it's just about the percussion. So let this go for a while. While this is turned down, this is very advanced here. I'm going to let this go for a couple times. It's turned down right now, the volume. Now I'll change it to a triangle wave. And we'll turn it back up and listen to it. Here we go. Quiet, too quiet. The clap here. Turn the volume down. Let that go for a couple. 4 exactly. Mute that. I'm gonna stop it here. Okay. Boom! That was actually pretty cool. The important thing is, though, is that I have this thing called Turtle-Audio-3. This is what I want you to turn in. I think it's okay. Mr. Z, are you going to sit there and listen to everybody's 2-minute-long song and count that it's exactly correct? No, I'm not. This is your first time. There should be some mistakes. Either way, we need to see where this is. So I'm going to click on this arrow here. We're going to say show in Finder or show in Explorer or reveal in Explorer. I forget. So this is a good time to rename your document, your WAV file that you're going to turn in. To do that, right click, rename. It might be edit in Windows. I forget. Mr. _ Zbarth, Mr. Zbarth. At UCI, they called this the camel hump method, whereas you kept everything in one word, but you capitalized every new word. So it would be Mr. Zbarth, like that. Either way, it should be first name, last name, .wav. This is the thing to turn in. There is nothing else to do. So we are simply building off our previous groove from week 3 or week 7. If you can't find it, show up to Zoom and I will give it right to you and it'll be really easy. We are at a later point going to take these animations and these turtle audio grooves and combine them into one. Let me hit play here so you can hear it. Not the same, not exactly the same thing. But I have found an app that combines it all. And it syncs. I don't have a lot of changes here, but it works. Yeah. I hope you like this. Miss you guys. We will combine these next time. So again, there's no Google form to fill out this week. Simply upload your WAV file. It should be at least 45 seconds in length. Could be up to 2 minutes. It probably could be longer than that. I actually don't know, but the ones I tested were 2 minutes. So if you have something you really want to kind of go off on the tangent on, I highly recommend it. I would love it, love it, love it. So again, you're going to submit the WAV file directly to Google Classroom. Thank you so much. Miss you guys, and I will see you at our Zoom meeting this week.